Canadians building offset smokers? What has this world come to? If you've ever thought it'd be cool to build your own offset smoker, I will tell you from experience, do it. I love this thing. It is so much fun. I've never cooked with one of these before. I did a lot of research, and I just want to do this quick video just to kind of show you the high level design behind it. The last video I uploaded was a 40-minute build video, so if you actually do it, that might be of value, but 40 minutes, man, like that's a long video. This thing started off as a 60-gallon air compressor. I basically took the compressor off of it, detabbed the whole thing, stripped the paint. A lot of folks said in the comment section I should be using a chemical paint stripper. Probably a good idea, probably a lot quicker. I wasted so much time. I also did a very good clean on the inside because if you know what the inside of an air compressor smells like, I was very nervous that that would infuse the food. And so I sandblasted the entire inside of this thing, cut out my door, I came 2 inches down and I went right to horizontal. I made all these hinges. I printed out some 3D templates of what I thought would work. Knowing that this was a 20-inch diameter, it was really easy to draw up in Fusion 360. Also these support ribs, and then the handles as well. They're all things that I did a template on, and then just traced it to steel, cut it out. Next time, probably get them laser cut. That will be fast. This handle does not get hot at all. I was kind of concerned about that, but even when I did the first burn, I brought up to 500 degrees Fahrenheit, and I could keep my hands on here, no problem. So open it up, we have a single grate, and this is angle iron. There's some angle iron tracks that it slides in, and then I have an angle iron support down the middle. I also welded some tabs so I can pull the grate out and it's not gonna fall down. Also, I welded 2 pieces of angle iron inside here, one here to hold my water pan. And so I wanted to keep this water pan off of the grate. That way, if I want to open it and close it, I wasn't worried about it falling down, and that's working fantastic. I seasoned the whole inside of it with canola oil and picked up some thermometers on Amazon. That's cool. Really didn't know how well this would seal, these little lips I welded, and it actually works really good. During the cook, nothing comes out, it all goes up the stack. This stack is a 5.5 inch inside diameter. This was a piece of steel. It's just a scrap steel pipe that we had laying around, and I thought I would use it. I made this collector box. This is all 3/16 inch steel plate. This is 4 inches tall, and whatever this width is. Welded it all up. I notched out the pipe, put that in there, welded it. So to control the flow, I just have this flap on the top. I can open and close it. I thought if I have too big of a stack, I can always choke it down and throttle it back. But I would rather make sure I had enough airflow rather than thinking like, oh man, I welded a 2-inch steel pipe on here and I can't get flow. It's not burning well. So there's quite a bit of research that I did when I built this thing. They say that your burn chamber should be about 1/3 the volume of your cook chamber. So I took that into account. The one that I have is actually a little bit more than 1/3. But again, I thought, you know what, I'd rather have more room for a fire, just build a smaller fire rather than have something too small and it's like, okay, I can't get enough heat going. Let's go to this side and I'll show you the firebox. So the firebox is made from 3/16 inch thick steel. I insulated this side and this side with the hope that I would be able to touch this when it was cooking. That doesn't work. It's not that well insulated. So I have an 1.5 inch gap here, 1.5 inch gap here, and then another 3/16 steel plate on either side. And in between there, I actually put ceramic wool. And I completely sealed that up with welds. You don't want to mess with ceramic wool. You would not want that being in your fire. Like you just got to be careful with that stuff. But the top here gets really nice and warm, and I will dry out my splits right before I put them in, and it works fantastic. I'll just kind of set them here for a bit. 5 minutes on this side, put them in, and they take off instantly. Like there's no waiting for them to catch. It works fantastic. Right now I'm cooking with cherry. There's a local supplier in Calgary called Smokin' Good Wood, and I bought a 1/2 quart of cherry. This stuff cooks really nice. It's not a strong flavor. Like I'm actually kind of shocked at how unsmoky it is, but then again, that you can manage that, you can control that. I'm trying to do really clean cooks right now, get a nice clean smoke. If I want to, I can throttle things back, get a little more smoke on there, put a little more flavor, or switch out to a different wood. I've made the mistake of over smoking things before, and it's just kind of a little bit too much, but man, the food that comes off of this thing is insane. And then on the bottom, I put some more expanded mesh just so I can keep my wood on there, move it around. I have a drain hole here. This was an existing bung from the air compressor, so I put a ball valve on there, and it actually works really good. All the renderings, drippings go in the bottom. Drain it out, dispose of it, keep it good, and all that stuff. A couple things I'm going to change with this though. I don't like these wheels. They were great just for moving it about the shop. But when I'm out here, if I want to take it here, I store this inside the shop. Seems like a good idea. Also, sorry, I'm getting distracted, but whenever I walk by this, I smell barbecue. It's got this residual perfume of just love and peace and barbecue. It's so good. So good. Anyways, when I try and take this into the backyard, it kind of rolls fine, but these wheels obviously have no give, no cushion, and so it rattles. My splits fall off. So I've bought some pneumatic tires. I'm gonna be putting those on, and then I'm gonna do a little steering mechanism up front here so I can actually wheel it around. It's not that hard to maneuver. I would estimate it probably weighs about 500 pounds, 400 pounds. The firebox is heavy. It's definitely heavy. In fact, in my build video, this thing went wha-pow on me, and it kind of cranked the door a little. The door closed perfectly, like perfectly tight, and stayed there without any mechanical intervention. But after it fell on the door, we have an issue. But let me close this. I shouldn't be doing this with, but you can see I can actually lift this end of it up. So we're definitely firebox heavy on this one. But that's pretty much the basics of it. It's not complicated, but it is a lot of work. I would probably estimate that I have at least 40 hours into this thing. It was a really fun build. A lot of figuring out and fabrication. I enjoy that work. I enjoy coming up with an idea. I didn't use any plans, nothing. I just started welding things together, and this is what I got. So lots of stuff on the internet, lots of opinions this way, that way. Oh, the throat. I didn't show you the throat. I didn't exactly know how big I should make it, but I thought, you know what? If I make it too big, cut too big of a hole, I've saved that piece of steel so I can always weld some of it in if it was too big, but I think it's good. It's actually cooking properly, so why change it? There you can see how big the throat is. And yeah, like I say, I mean, that might be on the big side. I don't know. I've never done this before, but it works. And if it works, it works. So overall, I'm wildly thrilled with this thing. I've only actually cooked on it 3 times. We did a whole chicken. The first cook I did, that turned out, it was the best chicken I've ever done in my life. My wife brined it, and it was so juicy, and it was perfect, like perfect whole chicken. Amazing. And then a couple days later, we did some chicken wings, and they turned out so good. And then last Sunday, Sundays are great. Like in the afternoons, we don't have anything, so I just wheel this out to the backyard, sit in a lawn chair, and just enjoy the day and make delicious food. We did beef ribs, and those were fantastic. A lot of learning to cooking on these things. One thing I learned real quick, also saw people say it, is that the heat's coming from this way, so while you're cooking, sometimes you need to rotate it. I noticed that with our ribs, the meat was pulling back from the bone on this side, so I just flipped it, and then it pulled back evenly on the other side. I was thinking about adding a secondary rack to this, but I don't know if I'm going to. That's the nice thing with building your own too, right? I mean, you can just change whatever you want later on. I am going to put a louver on the firebox. I've been just cracking the door to control the airflow, but I think it'd be better to get a latch to lock it down and then have a louver on there so that I can very precisely tune the airflow, because this thing it is very tunable. Like even already, I probably ran this for about 8 or 10 hours, and watching my gauges, I can kind of see where things are at, and I know that if I crack the door this much, I'm gonna get up to this temperature, and I'm blown away at how easy this is to cook on. This was a fun project. If you've been thinking about doing something like this, 100%, just go for it, do it. It's a lot of work, but it's totally worth it. And we're finally starting to get some nice days around here. We had snow last week, but we can start smoking things, and I can feed my family and make everybody happy. I'm telling you, if people ate food off of these things more often, we would probably have world peace and perfect economic situation. It's really that simple. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. If you have any questions, comments, leave them down below, and I'll do my best to answer. Cheers.